Shwmai, croeso, hello and welcome to episode 37 of the Bluebirds Nest. Last week, I mentioned the excellent work that club partners Justin Edinburgh 3 Foundation are doing, particularly around Justin's Law, a campaign to legally require all health and sports facilities in the UK to have a working defib. If you have already visited the website and signed a petition, thank you very much. If you haven't, please do spend 30 seconds signing the online petition via their website or via the QR code on screen, or if you listen to this as a podcast, it's je3foundation.com. That leads us nicely into welcoming this week's guest. It's club physiotherapist, Mr. Triston Jenkins. Trist, welcome to the Nest.
Thanks for having me, mate. It's been a long time coming. It's been pretty tricky trying to work it out and find the time to fit this in. But glad to be here.
You are a busy man, by far the trickiest guest to tie down to having some time with you. But it's great to have another staff member on to chat to. I should have perhaps mentioned former player in your introductions there, not just club physiotherapist. As just this week, I've managed to find this fantastic image you can see on screen here now of you as a youngster sporting, rocking that fantastic looking haircut there, Tris. But when was this done? I didn't realise you were a past player too.
Yeah, so played for the academy under 15s and 16s. So back then I like to think I was a bit of a baller, especially with sporting that haircut. I think I said to you before, it was a bit of a mixture between Justin Bieber and Kaka. I think he was probably the player that inspired me the most. So kind of a throwback, especially with the blonde in the hair as well. But
What position were you playing?
So mainly like a left winger, attacking midfielder. I like to play with a bit of flair. But then since then I stopped playing, packed on the pounds a little bit. So I just play a little bit now. Ceredigion 3rd Division with Llanboidy. So when I can fit that in, still try and have a bit of a run around, but more so helping the injured players these days.
Nice, the mighty Foxes at Llanboidy. So let's go down your career path then. Obviously a degree in physiotherapy from Coventry University, I think I'm right in saying. Was it always sort of your mindset? Did you always want to become a physiotherapist?
To be honest with you, it probably wasn't. I think probably like most kids, when they're in sixth form, they're not sure what they want to do. It's quite a big decision to make that early on in your life. I knew I kind of wanted to go into the sports route somehow, but I think it was mainly down to a lad I was with in sixth form. He was applying for physiotherapy, and I got chatting to him, and it kind of sounded like it appealed to me really, and kind of like the options it would bring going forward. So it was mainly down to another lad. I thought, oh, well, that sounds good, I'll just apply for it too. And it turned out he never actually got a place on the course, and I did. And he went off to study chemistry instead. So went down a completely different career path. So I probably owe it to one of the lads in school. So it wasn't something I thought I would go into initially, but I love it career-wise. It's very broad, and I get a chance to meet a lot of people and help people, which is really rewarding.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, you worked with the NHS for a number of years after graduating, but just a few weeks ago, you ventured into the business world yourself. You opened up West Health. You're where you're currently at there in the office, we call it, in the clinic, at the S7 fitness facility up in Withybush there, with obviously Chris O'Sullivan, Sully, former player, former manager, I suppose, is your landlord. What made you decide to go down that route then, and how have you found it so far?
I was working obviously in the NHS, and then kind of working in clinics alongside the NHS privately. And I think from my experience with working in private clinics, there was almost a bit of a gap in the market for something a little bit extra than your typical physio clinic would offer. I think I worked with the Swans Academy, and in the summer I spent some time up with the Welsh Rugby Union with the under-20s before they went up to the World Cup. So I kind of seen the facilities they had to offer. And unfortunately, unless you're in the top level of sport, mainly kind of athletes won't have access to those facilities. So for me, it was an opportunity where I could help local athletes kind of strive and kind of develop in a setting which obviously S7 is is a great facility. It's unrivaled in West Wales. So kind of, I think what's on offer here as a gym facility alongside a clinic, it kind of went hand in hand really and worked really well together.
Fantastic. And I know you've been busy and we'll come on to that shortly, but west-health.co.uk is your new site then. So the clients or new clients just book an appointment and come and see you. So what's the process of if someone's looking to have your support?
Yeah, so obviously over the last few weeks, trying to become a bit more active on social media as well. So try and almost create an online presence with it as well, because I think a lot of advertising these days goes through social media. So yeah, for me, it's people can book online on the website. They can make inquiries through the website, but also I'm pretty reachable through social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram. Kind of a lot of people just message me directly. And over the last few weeks, we've been offering free discovery calls for prospective clients then to look at what we offer and see how we can help them then. So yeah, it's a bit of a learning curve, but an exciting one.
Yeah, definitely. And you do, like you mentioned there, a whole host of services from obviously physiotherapy, sports massage, strength and conditioning. But I think you've had your hands full, certainly from a club perspective, with rehabilitation in recent times. It's I'm sure as a club we're cursed because that's 3 seasons on the bounce now. I think we've been hampered with a lot of injuries, a ridiculous amount of injuries in this autumn period. Tony mentioned to me actually a fortnight ago that he tallied up how many different people were missing on a weekly basis. It was well into the 50s back then, and we've only played 11 games now, so it's probably into the 60s. But just before the Arbor game, I came into your treatment room. I think there was more people in the treatment room at the ground than there was in the changing room. But without going into too much detail on them all, obviously Kyle Patton, I think April was the last time Kyle played. Yeah. Jack obviously got injured the B36 game in Cardiff. Elliot Scotch, it was great to see him back sort of moving with you just before the Arbor game at the Oggy Bridge Meadow. So he's sort of ramping up his recovery now over the next few months. Forsey got injured recently. Just this weekend, Aidan and Kai both got injured in the Pontypridd game. But you've had as we said, on social media, you've done a lot of sort of case study, I noticed, on Dylan, obviously Captain Dylan Rees, who ruptured his ACL, I think I'm right in saying, back in June.
Yeah.
You've invested in a lot of new kit and things like that. But what's it been like using that new kit on Dylan? What is it doing to aid his recovery then?
Yeah, so obviously here we offer a lot more than what can be offered at your typical clinic. So I think that's really good to have alongside working some of the half-blessed players privately. With Dylan, obviously with an ACL reconstruction, it's such a lengthy injury that he'll be out for a long period of time, and it's really important to get that rehab right. So post-op, we've been working on kind of certain strategies to help him build his strength again. So one of the things that we've been using is electrotherapy, so electrical stimulation to try and get his quads firing again. And also using a bit of blood flow restriction as well. So while he's got kind of some precautions in place as to how much he can load his leg, it really helps bring on that strength. And like I said, it's a bit of a luxury really that we've got it here. And it's really helping with his recovery. But also pre-operatively, it was really helpful to test some baseline data as well. So we've got access to things where we can quantify strength measurements and we can take some numbers to get some baseline testing done for him. We've also got force plates as well, so we can test how high he jumps on one leg and how much force he's distributed through each leg and things like that. So yeah, it's really kind of the top range stuff that we can use, and I think it's really important to make sure that we're kind of putting things in place where we're guiding Dylan's rehab with numbers, because I think unfortunately there's a lot of people out there that will do a lot of guesswork, and I think we can provide so much more than that. And I think with the ACLs, there is a high risk of re-injury in the future. So we just want to make sure we get all of his rehab done really well, and we're using all of the equipment to guide that process then.
Okay, it's fascinating to hear that. And obviously, Dylan's contract would have been up at the end of this season, but already announced Dylan's agreed another year extension then. So, back stronger, I suppose, to ready for almost for pre-season. I'm assuming, is that the sort of timeline that's been hoped for?
Yeah, that's what we're aiming for, really. And Dylan's a great athlete to work with. He's such a determined guy, and I think his ethos fits quite closely with mine. That we're using this as almost an injury is a big setback, isn't it? But it's almost an opportunity to come back even fitter and even stronger than before. So Dylan's really great to work with. He's putting in all the groundwork. Obviously, we train a couple of times a week, and it's down to him to do the rehab, really. So he's a great athlete to work with, and if we can guide that process, like I said, with the equipment that we've got here, it just kind of facilitates that recovery even more. So
that's awesome. Yeah, as I can imagine, he's very mentally strong with it as well, because what a setback just before what he would have been captain in the European games and things like that. So fair play to him. And from the social media, Instagram stories and Facebook and things like that I've seen, it looks like he's really focused, and looking forward to him being back on the grass soon. The sooner the better. I mentioned Europe then, so I think we almost had another injury. You almost injured yourself the night we won the shootout in Cardiff. I don't think I've ever seen you move so quick. You took off to celebrate those winning penalty shootout. Europe for you then, obviously yourself and Dr. Richard Thompson working so closely together. You're a great partnership with lots of experience. Traveling to those, distant countries with limited weight capacities and things. What was that all like? How did you juggle making sure you had the right equipment? And it must have been quite stressful, I'm assuming.
Yeah, definitely. It was there was a lot of thought that had to go into it, because obviously when you're playing in UEFA competitions, there's certain regulations that you have to meet and things like that. So there was a lot of work behind the scenes. I think the doc probably did a lot of it, if I'm honest, with regards to obviously all the medical screening, sorting out ECGs for the players, all that type of stuff that maybe goes a little bit unnoticed. And I think, then obviously we have to get the right equipment in place to take with us and sort out, obviously, like I said, the weight allowance, how much could we bring with us? And with these boys, we have to give them the best chance to perform abroad. So, it's really important to have all that in place. So, logistically, it was a bit of a headache at times. And like in a semi-professional environment as well, I know with trying to sort out the players' medicals and all that type of stuff, you've got to think about, are they working, everything that goes on outside of their life outside the club. So logistically it was a tricky situation, but we got through it. And I think I have to owe a lot of that to the doc, because he's a very organised guy. So great to work with him.
Oh, you're modest. An unbelievable experience all round. I know it's. I can't help but discuss it every week, every episode. We're still talking about Europe, but I think that's going to be part of the course for the season. Last thing I'm going to talk to you now, then, is you and I, along with several others, Tony, Rob, Julian, Julie, Georgina, and Tom. I think I've covered everybody. We've all committed this month to some fundraising, a 3 or 5K walk, run, cycle every day throughout October in aid of Prostate Cancer UK. The funds are increasing. Fitness is topping up too. How are you finding it?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. To be honest with you, I don't do too much running. I don't think I've run much in the last year since we did the challenge in last October. So, it's one of those where if I had some clients coming to tell me they'd be doing this every day throughout October, I'd probably tell them it's not the best idea for the body, especially for someone that doesn't exercise a hell of a lot. But I think it's a great cause, isn't it? Like, I mean, prostate cancer is so relevant. It's the most common cause of cancer in men. It affects 1 in 8 blokes. So I think, to do something as a club is really rewarding. And hopefully we just raise a lot of money for a really good cause. So after the first week, the running was taking the toll on the knees a little bit, because like I said, it's a lot of load, and we've upped it compared to what we were doing last year. So kind of mixing a bit of the running with some cycling. So got a 10k bike planned today, because the knees are screaming a little bit. But it's like I said, it's for a great cause, isn't it? So you kind of grin and bear it, get through the month, and hopefully we can raise as much money as we can.
Definitely. And I'll echo what you just said. I won't lie. The first few days, I was feeling it in the thighs. But I must admit, the serotonin has been flowing over the last few days, certainly. And it's I have been enjoying it, mixing it, like you say, with a range of different activities. But getting out there, it is good. You know, a bit of fresh air. I probably over the summer months and before probably, apart from the odd game of golf, I wasn't doing enough. So this has been a real kickstart of a bit of a health regime, I suppose. So long may it continue. I don't know about every day going forward after October, but we'll keep going. If anyone would like to support us in our fundraising efforts, please feel free to visit our Prostate United page via the link on screen, via the QR code, or if you visit the club's social media, the links are plastered pretty much every day on there as well. Looking forward to this weekend. We are home again at the Oggy Bridge Meadow. It's a Welsh Cup tie against Baglan Dragons from the Cymru South. I believe they are travelling west in their numbers, so please make it to the Meadow if you were able to for a 2 p.m. kickoff. So it's a half hour earlier this weekend due to the potential extra time and penalties. God help us if there's more penalties. We've had plenty of those too recently, Trist. Not good for the nerves.
No, we seem to be good at them recently, though. So, hopefully we don't need penalties to take us through. But, yeah, if we do, you've got confidence that our players can pull it off anyway.
Good. Listen, I know you're a really busy man with appointments coming back and forth. Your new base at S7. Wish you all the best with it. I hope it's everything you wanted it to be, and it sounds like you're making a real big impact in the West Wales area. I know you've got clients coming from far and wide, but all the best, and I'll see you this weekend at the game.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Roy. It's been a pleasure.